I'm Holly Constant.
And I'm Maddie Hockaday. We really love Parks and Rec, and we really love behind-the-scenes details.
So we're researching everything from DVD extras like deleted scenes and commentaries,
plus interviewing cast and crew who actually worked on the show.
We also bring on guests and friends to geek out about everything parks.
So join us, you tropical fish.
This is literally the best Parks and Rec rewatch podcast.
We're your park pals.
There's a park and some pals, and there's also therapy too.
Okay, well, whenever you're ready, let me know.
I'm ready. Let's do it.
Okay, oh my gosh, we're here for Season 5, Episode 9, Ron and Diane. I feel like this is, I know I say this all the time, but we haven't had a monumental, iconic episode like this in a minute. Don't you think?
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, I think there's huge stuff that happens here. I think the biggest being we get to introduce Leslie to this person for Ron. And it's crazy to sit there and think she hasn't met her yet. And they've been dating for probably, you think a couple months now?
Yeah, I think.
I would think so.
Yeah,
I mean, we're hitting
that.
Christmas and...
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was Halloween.
He took them trick-or-treating. Yeah. They've been together for a while. How has Leslie missed out on meeting her? Ooh.
Oh my God. She hasn't inserted herself this way in a while. She's been busy, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like this is one of the more exciting ones apart from Joe Biden coming onto the show, which was amazing. But the actual episode as a whole was a little bit more of a setup episode. So I'm really excited to get into Ron and Diane because so many wonderful things happen. But first of all, for this crew, this was directed by Dan Gore, who we all know and love from Brooklyn Nine-Nine fame and, of course, Parks. Written by Megan Amram and Aisha Muharrar. We have done so many breakdowns on Aisha, so I won't go too far into that, but I will say, as I always say, that she's the one that in the Eagleton thing when Anne goes to get the baby stuff. I say this every episode, so you guys are probably bored of it, but if you're new here, the one where she's like, this is the first bib I've seen without Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s face on it, and the worker lady is like, really? That's Aisha Muharrar, which is lovely, and I'm glad that she got that part. But Megan Amram is new. She's a new writer for Parks anyway. And she wrote and produced for The Good Place as well, which is wonderful. Great. And Silicon Valley. And she also wrote the episode Animal Control coming up, which we love. Nice. So good. A few more episodes next season and in season 7. So she's coming back and that'll be awesome. But did you know that she also created the show Pitch Perfect, the Bumper in Berlin show?
No.
Do you remember when that came out, or do you know what that is?
Yeah, I know what it is, but I never watched it.
I haven't watched it either. I really want to because I like Pitch Perfect, and I also I know Jamila Jamila's in it. But what I didn't know is that, what's her name? The one who plays Haley in Haley Dunphy in Modern Family.
Oh, yeah.
Is, one of the other main characters.
Sarah, I think her last name's Wells now. Highland. But I think she married a guy with last name Wells, so now she's Sarah Wells. Yeah, I think she does actually have a good voice. That's what I've heard.
Yeah, and I think it's just fun. Yeah, she was in Little Shop on Broadway, but she also was, she dated, his name was Andy.
Adam Devine.
Modern Family, Adam Devine. So I thought that was cool that I didn't know that they acted together again, so that's fun.
Yeah, very cool. I didn't know that either.
So anyways, that's how Megan ties into that. And also, go ahead.
So sorry. Side note, I just learned this a week ago because if you watched Modern Family, they were a romantic item and they did end up working out, which is sad. But I guess the original plan was for them to end up together. But he got offered a different, I don't know the timeline of what he was offered to go do, but he was called off the show to go do something bigger. So that's how she ended up with what's-his-face instead.
Dylan.
Yeah. Good old Dylan.
Gosh. Good old Dylan. Oh my gosh. Yeah. It did work out for the writing, I feel, but I did love Andy. That's a great character.
Oh yeah, he did a great job. Yeah. So anyway.
And I also didn't realize that Pitch Perfect is also with Elizabeth Banks. She directed it, which, I mean, I knew she directed the first one, but I didn't know she did Bumper in Berlin. But
I didn't know that either.
Yeah. So anyhow, that's Megan Amram who wrote this episode with Aisha Muharrar, and Bumper in Berlin is also on Peacock. We are not sponsored yet by them, but it is on Peacock if you'd like to look at it. So you probably already have it because of Parks and Rec. So Anyways,
Do it.
and she was also a producer on The Simpsons, which is fun because, we have a lot of Simpsons tie-ins with Parks. So, but yeah, so it sounds like we have a really exciting team, which I think really shows. So yeah, I'm ready for a summary whenever.
Yay. All right. Ron wins a prestigious woodworking award, and both Leslie and Diane accompany him to the ceremony. Leslie fights off Ron's past while also potentially threatening his future. Meanwhile, Tom, Donna, Andy, and April feel the consequences of their mean actions towards Jerry and miss out on the Gergich Christmas party. Chris's therapy seems to be working.
Yes, it does.
I had to put that in there.
Yep. That is another C story, I guess, if you will.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes. But a great one at the same time.
I know. And also going 15 times a week. I mean, I know we'll get to it, but
yeah.
Wow. Is there any time to settle and learn? But
yeah,
that's okay. Sometimes you need just your handheld throughout the time.
Yeah.
So it's okay.
Yeah. That's a lot, though. That's twice a day and 3 times on one day.
Yeah.
How long are your sessions?
Oh, yeah. Good call.
Because if they're little snippet sessions, okay, but full hour sessions and you're going fit, that's a lot.
Right.
I know it's just there for the funnies, but still.
But still. All right. Well, great summary. Now we're on our cold open. I love this cold open so much. It's such a fun GIF. Everybody uses it for a meme moment. And oh my gosh, it's so wonderful. Leslie coming in dressed as a Christmas elf lady. And she says, "Merry Christmas," because it's Christmas, but it's also Ron's woodworking award, like you mentioned in your summary, that he is nominated for this woodworking moment. And it's so exciting.
Yeah. She has a Google alert on there for him. And that's the only reason she knows, which creepy, but also
I know. Yes. It
why?
finally
Why,
paid
Leslie?
off.
Yeah.
Also,
I didn't know you could do that.
Yeah. I only know that because you used to, in acting classes, you used to be, well, not all the time, but you can set up Google alerts for auditions or something.
Oh, cool.
And
okay.
so that's the only reason I know it. But yeah. You could definitely have a Google alert for your friends.
Yeah.
Which would be funny. But she gives him 2 bottles of Lagavulin, which I think that's kind of a lot of money, I feel, to spend.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
Lagavulin's not cheap.
No.
Just letting everyone know that. But it is great.
She goes out for her friends, though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I love how excited Ron is about this. He feels honored. He actually feels into this. It's so sweet.
Yeah, I love the way that Nick plays it too, because it's just so I built a chair. I thought it was a good chair. I entered it into the thing. And then he gets this big smile on his face. Mm-hmm. It's been a real whirlwind. You can tell he's really proud of it. So, I love it.
I know. I love it too. And then again comes to the meme / GIF moment when she says the jingle bells, jingle yay, jingle good for you.
I use that song. So much.
Good.
It's so good. I love it. And she's inserting herself to go with him to the ceremony. So he's confused at first, which fair, because she didn't invite you.
Right. I totally understand that. Yeah. And she has been, like you said, inserting herself right now because she's appointed herself the emotional guardian or support guardian or whatever, which I think is a really cute name. But Leslie wants to meet Diane, and she just is not taking no for an answer. She's like, okay, I'm coming. Yeah. It's perfect. We're great. Done.
Yeah. It's great. Totally fine.
Oh my God. Yes. And then, which I think is important to see. I do think it's important to see Leslie meeting her and not the approval necessarily, although that is cool, but just Ron bringing her, even though it wasn't necessarily warranted or wanted, seeing Leslie be in Ron's life outside of work is very important, I think.
Agreed. Yeah. So. I have things to say about it, but I think it fits better later in the episode. So hold back.
Okay, so the next thing is that Donna is trying to choose a swanky restaurant to celebrate Jerry dinner, which I almost forgot about Jerry dinner.
Yeah.
That is such a great thing. I mean, not great, but kind of funny and a really good arc for these coworkers.
Well, they have a little theme song for it.
Yes, Jerry dinner.
Jerry dinner.
Jerry dinner. Jerry dinner. Yes, it's so good. They have $518, which to me seems like a lot.
That is to put this in perspective for people, there are roughly around, depending on the year, 260 work days. So that's at least $2 a day.
Which would make sense with the talking head, because he gave $2.
He does, right?
Within 30 seconds of Jerry doing something.
Yeah. Yeah. So
that's a really good way to put it in perspective.
It's crazy. Poor Jerry.
Oh my God. Poor Jerry. I like how Anne reacts, though. She's smiling first, and then she's like, oh my God, that's so nice. I'm like, that's so mean.
Yeah.
But like, you think she's going to say that's so nice, is what I meant to say. Because of how she's like smiling and stuff. And then Anne is like, you should at least invite Jerry to the dinner. And I really love this because I don't know how, if you notice this at all, but I feel like in this episode, Anne is like given a lot of kind of funny stuff to say. And I was like, I love that Rashida is getting to be a little bit more comedic. I feel like the last couple of episodes we've seen her be a little bit more like the straight man, the steady man, like, or woman. You know, so I really love that she's getting this like comedy moment when Tom says, if you're like joking, you should do stand up or whatever. And she's like, if you're serious, I actually have been thinking about it. Yeah. I laughed out loud at that. I thought that was so funny.
I know. I do love it. And I think we're starting to see the fruits of her dating herself.
Good call.
We're seeing this, you know, she's still kind of the straight person because she's calling them out on this, right? Like, hey, that's like not cool that you're doing this. But she's also standing up to all these people by herself. And, you know, some strong personality people like Donna and April are not like, in my mind, if I put myself in those shoes, they're not easy people to stand up to. You know, she's like finding this new confidence in herself. And I think that this comedic side is also kind of part of it.
Yeah, I love that. That's a great call. Okay, so then I was gonna say she makes a Matlock joke, and April doesn't know who that is. And did you know? I don't know if you know this, but they're doing a Matlock reboot with Kathy Bates on CBS. But I'm very intrigued because it doesn't quite seem. Yes, I love her too. I don't know if it's like not a remake, but like a spin-off situation. I don't really understand it.
I don't know. So the original, I can't remember what years it was, but it's Andy Griffith plays the original Matlock. And I'm wondering if they're saying she's his daughter.
I wonder.
Like, because I thought I heard something in a trailer about her being related to him.
Oh, maybe.
So I don't know. She could be related, and that's how they're kind of spinning it off. Is now it's his daughter is out there being this awesome lawyer or whatever. But we'll see how it tracks, because there were 195 episodes of the original Matlock.
Okay, intriguing.
So it was pretty successful.
Yeah. All right. All right. Well, we'll have to keep an eye on that.
Yep.
That is not on Peacock. That is on CBS, aka Paramount. So just letting you know, everyone can sponsor us. Thank you so much.
Yes. We'll wait for the phone calls now.
Yes. Okay. So, well, did you have anything before the next scene?
Nope.
Okay. Well, I really love this next moment where Ben asks Chris to hang out, which I think is so nice that we're seeing them like hang out again, because it has been a while, you know.
Yeah.
He's been gone. Then, you know, Leslie and him got engaged, and it's just been a moment, a whirlwind. So it's really nice to see this.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's kind of like a cool visual of, they say friendships that have hit the 7-year mark, like it won't matter how long you go without seeing each other or hearing from each other. That person's always just going to be part of you because it's lasted this long, right? And I think this is a beautiful like symbol of that. Like there's no awkwardness between them. It's their best friends hanging out, and adult life is hard, and sometimes it takes a real effort to make time for other people. And this is a really cool moment that I love that Ben is the one that reaches out to.
Me too.
Because I feel like in the current emotional state, Chris would be the one reaching out for people. But Ben's like seeing, hey, I haven't had a moment with Chris recently, and I would really love that.
Yeah, so I think it's really special.
Yeah.
It is like the ending though is it does touch a little bit on awkwardness when he's like, lots of hugs. I'm like, okay.
I think Ben is also just not the touchy guy that Chris is.
Agreed.
So
That's
think
so true.
Yeah, I think their differences come out there.
Yes, and now that Chris is like talking about going to therapy 15 times a week, I feel like he's emotionally open more so than Ben might be in this moment. So that could also be it. Not that it's like that deep, but you know.
Right. Well, it's hard. I wanted to pull attention to this because, you know, Ben is like, hey, it's been a long time. And Chris is like, oh, no, it makes sense. You know, you're in a very serious relationship with Leslie and I'm in a serious relationship with my therapist. And in my head, I was like, that's not how we should see that. Like, you're going to have to go to therapy to break up with your therapist at this point.
Oh my God, hilarious. Well, it's kind of funny that parallel because he also talks about like being in a relationship with himself. And so is Anne. So that's interesting.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Nice catch there. I like it.
Just thought of that.
Yeah.
But anyhow, yeah. Good point. Okay, so now we're at the Woodworking Awards, which is very exciting, and Leslie's finally meeting Diane. I just love this so much. We all love when Ron gets giddy and has a laughing moment and is like excited about something. And the writing is so wonderful about how he's like fangirling over these people, and it's just so precious.
It is. I think it's the writing and it's Nick. Because they give Ron this very straight, doesn't care about anything attitude. But when he cares about something, like he is a child about it. And it just makes it that much more special for us as an audience to live with him through it. So it's
Totally.
Great.
So did you find anything, the same thing that I found about this guy that says that he's fangirling over?
I looked up the shaker style.
Okay.
Did you look up the actual person?
Yes. So
it's a real person.
Yes. I looked up the name. I was shocked to my core. This whole time, you know, in the 10 plus years, whatever the hell that I've been watching this show, I was like, these are extras. They're such good extras. Yeah. They're so wonderful. There are two people in here, and I'll get to the second one, that are real woodworkers that they got. So Christian Bexford is really a cabinet maker, and he really is like the expert in shaker and contemporary cherry furniture. And it is so crazy. I follow him on Instagram now. So I'll tag him, and I will make sure that you guys can follow him in the show notes and everything like that. But he has a picture of him drinking Lagavulin. And I was like, this might be Ron's twin or Nick Offerman's twin. Like, I was thinking, because at first I was like, this is the real Ron Swanson. That's him. But then I was like, no, Nick Offerman is the real Ron Swanson because he does all these things. So they're just like in the same like realm. He lives in Maine and he lives this like really lovely country looking life. They actually have a deleted scene where Ron meets Christian Beckford, and I kind of think that should have been the tag because it's just so good. He's like really awkward. He can't speak. He gets giddy about touching the same tools that Christian used, and it's just like, so he was like you just used that, like you just touched that, and it's same vibe that Christian gives. Like he had lines, which I love that they gave him like that, even though it was a deleted scene. But yeah, I think that's so great. I love that.
That's very cool.
Yeah. So
love it.
I think I want to say I had. Let me check because I feel like I did I recorded one of the deleted scenes and it might have been this. Let me see.
That's the smell of linseed oil, wood shavings, and the sweat of skilled men. That is Victoria Adams, the greatest living master of the jigsaw. I find talent to be an aphrodisiac, and let's just say that lady is giving me some serious mahogany.
Oh my gosh.
So that didn't have to deal with Christian Bexford. So I'm sorry that that's like a little bit out of the realm here, but not really, because I was going to mention that one is not a real lady. I did look up this lady. She is not from what I saw in my research, that was not a real person or a real woodworker. But I will say too, it's kind of actually hilarious, and I don't think they did this on purpose. Maybe they did, I don't know, but this lady is like older with glasses, and she kind of looks like Ron's mom in a certain way, and I just think that was so funny.
Does he say this to Diane?
No, or as a talking head.
Okay. It's like mahogany. Oh my gosh.
I love all the wood puns that they did.
Oh gosh, that's so funny.
But anyway, okay, back to Christian. So I'll have to
Yes.
reach out to him at some point. But yeah, I never in a million years would have guessed that he was a real woodworker.
Wow. Yeah, me either. That's awesome.
Anyway, so you said you looked up the shaker furniture?
Yeah. So it's funny because I thought it was literally an extra and they dressed him to fit the shaker style stuff, but it's him. I'm sure they might have still given him wardrobe, but we've heard, from a lot of extras and people that they came with their own clothes and wardrobe, kind of picked what they were going to wear. So I wonder, but shaker style was developed by the United Society of Believers in Christ's Second Coming. So, very interesting. I would not have thought that, but it's very minimalist design. That's really all the interesting information about it.
Yeah, yeah. And I think Christian Bexford was known for like kind of making it famous as far as like the cabinetry and the dressers and things like that. It's just like straight lines, no frills, like very just I looked up a picture. We'll have to post it on like our stories or something. But yeah, and it's totally Ron vibes too, I feel.
Yeah.
Very clean looking, nothing.
Not too fancy.
Right. But very useful and practical. But yeah, love that.
Yeah, that's great.
Anyways, did you have anything else before we move on?
No, I just Diane and Leslie getting to meet for the first time, and Leslie just peppering her with so many questions. And I love that we break away from Diane and she's like, I don't know which question to answer first because you've just asked me like 8.
Yes.
But when we come back to them, and we'll get there, but she's answering the questions like a pro, like she's totally giving in to what Leslie is asking. And it's just like, okay, like, cool. She's accepted that this is who Leslie is and she's going for it. Which I think is great.
100%. I totally agree with that. And I had like a kind of relatable moment where this moment of Leslie reminds me of myself. Where I feel like I've been told, I've been told this, but I know this about myself. But Molly, my friend Molly is so funny because like one time, long story short, I get too deep too fast, and or not too deep, but like it's just fast a lot of the times because I'm not amazing at small talk, and so sometimes I'm just like having deep conversations with a person that I just met, and I'm like, oh, okay. And I think a lot of women do that. I don't think I'm alone in that, but it is just funny because I feel like I do that, and I loved that Leslie just immediately went to, what are your top 5 hopes, dreams, and fears?
Yeah. Yeah. No big deal. Just, yeah. But I think that's honestly probably one of the reasons you and I got so close so quick, because it wasn't like, let's sprinkle fairy dust on, like, what do you like to, watch on TV and stuff? Although we did like to watch a lot of the same stuff on TV. It was very like, welcoming, but also like, I care about what you've been through. What have you been through? What have I been through? Oh, look, we've been through a lot of similar things. Look at this. Let's sit and get into it. Totally. So I always appreciated that about you, because I also am not about like the fake, surface stuff. Yeah. So
yeah. But I mean, there is a deleted scene where where Diane answers some of those things. So, but I'm glad they cut it, just because I feel like you said, it kind of builds up to them having that relationship and her being able to answer everything. But yeah, I mean, she just asked 100 questions, like what? Yeah, it's like very confusing. Love this so much.
Yeah.
Okay, well, now we're on the way to Jerry dinner.
Yeah.
And everyone is saying their favorite Jerry moment. And that's awful, because some of these were intentional. I mean, like, it's one thing to do it when he did it himself, but to prank him and then treat yourself to dinner for doing that is so terrible.
I know. It's awful. And that's the worst part, right? Is when he said, my favorite part is when he ate a bowl of glue. I love it when you made him eat a bowl of glue. And it's just like, yeah. That's so awful. I think it's putting in perspective, because I think as an audience, we've laughed at Jerry getting, pranked, or that he's the klutz of the office or whatever, right? This whole time. And now we're all sitting here like, oh, I've laughed at all that. Like, I feel kind of bad, because we see throughout the rest of the episode, he's just this wonderful person. He just lets it happen to himself.
Yeah. And I love Retta's like acting where she kind of is like laughing, but she's uncertain, and she's like, wait, you can tell she's double thinking it. Which brings us to when she says, Anna's right. This is mean. Like, I'm going to get Jerry. We're going to take him to Jerry dinner. And, and then Andy has his like child moment.
I couldn't tell if like he knew where Jerry lived or he just said, if we're going past my house, like, can we do all these things? But also the line, I gotta poop, but I can do that. I can stop anywhere for that. It's my favorite.
Oh my God. It's so funny. Yes. For some reason, he forgot a sock, and he starts with deodorant, then it's the sock, then it's the jacket, then it's the poop.
Yeah. Level of
it's
importance.
So good. Yeah. Andy has some great lines in here.
He does.
It's wonderful.
Yeah. And I think it shows like Andy, I don't think would make fun of Jerry without Tom and April.
Interesting.
Not intentionally. I don't know if he has the heart or the intelligence too.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. So that's kind of where I've felt like, and yes, I don't want to excuse his behavior because he's still taking part in it. Mm-hmm. But I think he gleams on to the fact that there's other people doing it.
Sure. Yeah. That's fair. Now Anne and Leslie are talking about their Hogwarts houses. Diane says she's Hufflepuff and Leslie is Gryffindor, seeker on the Quidditch team. I love that she knows that she's a seeker.
Diane does give off heavy Hufflepuff vibes. Like that was good. I can see that. Yeah.
I was gonna say Ravenclaw too because she's like a smart teacher. But yeah,
I was gonna go Slytherin before Ravenclaw for the cunning adjective.
Yes. Intriguing. All right. She could do anything that she wants
could.
to.
She's wonderful. Yeah. We all love Diane.
Yes. I think Leslie could be Slytherin too. Just saying.
I agree. Yeah. It's hard because I feel like I'm Gryffindor, but I wish I was Ravenclaw. But I think it's easy to look at someone like Leslie and be like, did you actually take the test or do you just want to be Gryffindor?
Correct. And I wonder that. I actually don't know. I was thinking that too when they both said their houses. I was like, did they take the test or are they just
what they want to be? Like what they feel like they would be.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I'm Slytherin. I took it twice just to make sure, and I am Slytherin. Just in case anyone cares.
Okay. I want to know what Brooklyn is because Connor's Slytherin.
Oh, I think she's Gryffindor.
See, that's funny.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Siblings.
Yep. We got to balance each other out.
Yes. I know. I'll have to double check, but I'm pretty positive that she's a solid Gryffindor.
Yeah. That's great.
Love anyways. Okay, so Ron points out his chair, and neither Leslie or Diane have any idea which chair is his, which I love. Yep. But Leslie is just loving Diane because she does the same thing that Leslie would have done. I'm like, I don't know which one it is.
But they're there to support him with it. Yep. Either way. Love it.
Exactly. I don't know which one it is either. I was trying to like... No. He doesn't point at a specific one.
He literally says, there's my chair. I'm like, there's 5 chairs, Ron. Like,
yeah. But yes, Diane's being great and so supportive. I love this so much.
Yes. Agreed.
Okay. Well, now we're moving on to Jerry's house if you're ready.
Yep.
Oh my gosh, his house is so beautiful.
It
From the
is.
outside, on the inside. Oh my God, it looks so beautiful.
Does Gayle work?
Great question.
Damn. Unless they got in the market like early, because it's a nice house.
Yeah, it's really, really nice.
I would say there's at least 50 people there for that party.
I know. It's so beautiful that he has people showing up to his party.
Yeah. Yeah, and he's got the space for it, and that's the thing, is later we see Jerry, like Ben wants to stand up for Jerry, right? This is a season later or whatever. And Jerry's just like, let it go. Like he deals with being the brunt of the joke at work. But it looks like he has this amazing community outside of work of people, and that he's not the person he is at work. And that's, I think, why he can survive it. Because he's like, I'm this person for them.
Yes.
And at home, I've got this pretty great life. I've got pretty great friends and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. And that was intentional. I mean, the writers talk about that in pretty much every interview I hear. It's always like, how did he'd end up having such a great home life. And they're like, it would have just been too sad if that's his life all of the time, of just getting shat on every
seriously.
day, every second, every minute, you know, by everyone. So I love that they went like extreme with how perfect his life is outside of this, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It's
absolutely
lovely.
He could have turned into Andy Bernard, punching things, hitting his limit.
100%. 100%. Well, they didn't know that he was having a Christmas party. They think they weren't invited, which we'll learn later on is not the truth.
Mm-hmm.
But they see Ben, Chris, and Anne. And I thought it was kind of interesting. This is so not important at all. But I thought Ben and Chris were going to like hang out and do their own thing, but they didn't talk about the party. And so I was like, oh, I didn't know that that's where they were going to like hang out.
I wonder, in my head, I was like, I wonder if they went to dinner together first.
Oh, maybe.
Like, and then they were like, we'll head over to the party after.
I like that. I like that. Okay. And everybody in the car anyway is very upset. They're like, oh my God. Because at first it's like, oh, he's just having a party and didn't tell any of us. And then it's really jealousy sets in because they're like, what? Everyone else was invited? Like, I love Tom's line though. What do we ever do to him?
Yeah.
As they're on their way to make fun of him.
Seriously. And they're like, I didn't even know Anne knew Jerry. She also works there.
Another great Andy line. Oh my God, it's so good.
It is really good.
And then, oh my gosh, we're getting too crazy. Chris has full fat eggnog.
Yeah.
And doesn't lose his mind.
Yeah. Really great. I need to know your stance on eggnog. I feel like it's a very polarized topic when it comes to Christmas treats.
I think yes. You mean like, do I like it?
Mm-hmm.
I think it depends on which kind of eggnog. I just recently actually tried an eggnog. Was it last year? I think it might have been last year because my mom gets egg. I don't know where she even got it. But anyway, I tried it and I liked it. I did not used to like eggnog.
Okay.
I will say it's weird. It was weird to me.
It is.
And
it
didn't
is
taste
interesting.
great. But I tried it last year and I think I liked it. I don't know if it was like spices or what that was in it. But yeah. What about you?
Like a different one. I loved it growing up. Like I was so stoked every Christmas for eggnog. And I think I went years as like a first, well, we couldn't get it overseas. So I didn't have it like typically around the time there. And then when I got in college, it was like, I'm not going to buy this quart of eggnog to drink by myself because that just seems like way too much eggnog. And so I just kind of like didn't drink it for a long time. But I'm going to have to try it again and see if like, did I just not like it? Or was I just like, didn't have the opportunity to drink it? But it feels, I don't know how he doesn't freak out because it feels like you're gaining weight while you're drinking it.
Seriously, it's so thick
heavy
and creamy and heavy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
100%.
So good for him for not freaking out.
Oh my gosh. I know. And Ben is like so on edge for him. Like the whole night, he's just like, don't freak out. But
yeah.
I also love, what's that?
No, I was just finishing the line.
Oh, you just drank the regular eggnog, the full fat
eggnog.
Which I think is hilarious that they have a nameplate or like a label that says regular eggnog.
Yeah.
Like, do they have one that was low fat or
I'm sure they
just
did.
Say regular eggnog?
Well, I'm thinking about they have Millie, right? Like, and Millie felt like very much about the healthy stuff like Chris. So I wonder if
but she wasn't going to be there.
That's
remember?
True. Yeah.
I just think it's a funny distinction.
That's great.
That's all. I mean, it could have been whatever story they like. Maybe it was for Millie, just like keep her spirit alive there.
Yeah.
But which is totally that's too deep. But I just thought it was a funny gag to have regular eggnog.
I do love it. I also love that off the top of his head, as someone who probably doesn't actually drink eggnog every year, he knows that it's exactly 440 calories that he's adding.
100%. Oh my gosh, yeah. You can't live your life like that.
No.
Oh my gosh. I used to live my life like that and it is so debilitating. It's awful. I feel bad for Chris, honestly, when he says that. It's like, yikes.
Yeah, it's so much emotional and mental effort to keep track of all that stuff. And at the end of the day, you're like just nickel and diming things and it's not the only thing that matters.
Right. I do love Ben's line though, or no, Chris's line of like, did you know that things with fat taste way better than things without fat?
Yeah, Chris. Yeah, everybody knows that. Like, yeah, that's why we all eat it. Oh my
god. Yes, exactly. Especially around the holidays.
Yeah, it's hard to not.
You gotta.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Leslie is giving Ron her approval of Diane. She comes to him with 2 thumbs up, keeps the thumbs up forever. I just love this so much because it's like the back and forth of like, I don't need it, but you got it, but I don't want it, but you got it. And then he has a little smile, which I think is very special.
Because I think he does care.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
He does care.
Yeah, he does. And it's important to him, just like it would be important to any of us that, you know, the people that we surround ourselves with, like, are sort of kind of into our significant other that we've chosen, you know, because it makes a difference. I think it really makes a difference.
Well, and I think when you have somebody who is fully 100% on your side, they're your person. They're not your significant other's person. You know that they're looking out for you, and they're like, no, I know you can do better, or no, this person is really good for you, you know, but there's not very many people, like, I feel like, especially if you're, I don't know, there's not going to be a super grand amount of people who are going to be 100% focused on like what's best for you. And that's what Leslie is for Ron. She's like, only has Ron in her best interest. So it's like either she's not going to be good for you or she's going to be great for you. And he's getting that approval there.
Yeah. It's really nice. And maybe he didn't know he cared until she said that she did.
That
you
too.
know?
Yeah.
Could
very
be
real.
possible.
Because Ron doesn't typically care what other people think.
Correct.
Yeah. But I think it's important here because he's made some bad decisions. And I think he probably has I put myself in his shoes, been divorced 3 times, twice from the same woman. Like, I probably start to question my judgment and look more to outside people. So
yeah, love that. But it's very cute, and it's also really funny that she says she kind of insults the woodworking thing, like, "Come on, guys, it's not the Super Bowl." Which I was like, "Oh my god, that's a funny line," but also like, "Hello, that's
read the
insulting."
Room. Yeah, yeah.
But and then I love this where Leslie has this talking head of like, "Oh my gosh, this is great. This could end up being like the greatest night for Ron Swanson." And then we have Tammy, and she shows up. Great writing to bring her back. Great.
I know.
Love this
here and now. That dress too.
Yes.
Well done.
Sexual.
Well done, Megan Mullally.
Yes.
For working that
done.
dress.
So much wood ready to be worked. And I love it too because there is no like preconceptions or like fakeness about Tammy. Like, she is not subtle at all. She is not hiding anything. She's like outwardly obscene, touching her boobs and her butt and saying all these like, you know, insane sexual innuendos and things like that. So I just love that we've reached that point where we know who she is. Okay. We do not need to hide anything.
Yeah.
Oh, she's just so casual about ruining Ron's life, which is really sad, but she plays it just so well. It's so funny.
Yeah, I don't know if you could have cast this role better. And she's just totally in it now.
Yes.
So good.
I also love that Leslie has to question her stance on using the B word. Fight it.
Well, she's like, aren't you supposed to be forcing people to read? You and I both know the library closes at 3.
Yes, of course it does. Oh my God. Okay, well, do you have anything before we get back to Donna and Jerry and everybody?
No, I'm ready.
Okay. Well, they're standing outside spying on Jerry's house, and Andy is so baffled by having a buffet inside the house. I didn't even know you could do that.
Yeah, it's also not the craziest thing. So
yeah, have you never been to a potluck, sweetie?
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe not.
It's possible. It's possible he's never been there.
This is fancier than a potluck. I get it. This is like fully
this
catered.
Is catered.
Looks like and big deal. But I just love it so much. And then, this is another part that I just love from Rashida. She's so good where April tries to get in and she's surprisingly weak. Like, are you iron deficient? I'm barely doing anything.
Barely touching you.
Palms. Oh my God, it's so funny to me. I just was so happy with Rashida in this episode.
Yeah, I agree. I love it. Donna comments on someone looking like Blake Griffin.
Oh, yeah. Who's that again?
Okay, so he is a basketball player. Okay. He retired this year, and he ended his career on the Celtics.
Oh, okay.
But, yeah, I had to look up I was like, I feel like he's an athlete, but I couldn't be sure, so I had to look him up. But
do you think he ever played for Indiana?
I don't. I saw the Pistons. Let me triple check his little thing here. But
Donna would just know, though.
Donna will just know who he is because
he's hot.
Because he's
the gingerbread man.
he is. I mean, valid. If you look at Blake Griffin, he does look kind of like a gingerbread man because his hair is like a gingery color. Look at that.
Sure.
Yeah. It's hard to tell on the video, but his
I can see
beard is like a little reddish and
okay.
Yeah. So anybody's like tan, you know?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think good job for Donna, but Clippers was the other team he played for. The Nets. Okay. Yeah, she just knew.
Yeah, she just knew. He was hot and a sports player, and so he knew. She just knew.
Yeah.
An athlete. A sports player. LOL.
Keep it. Always call them that.
Oh my God. Well, so Donna is saying that she is the one who drove them all there because Anne's like, no, you can't come in until you do something nice for Jerry. And Donna's like, well, I did. And so she's allowed in, which is where
I agree with that. I think it's fair.
I do too. I love that Anne does get to be, I mean, she always is, but she gets that moment too of reiterating that she's the moral ground and like, you know what? You're right. You are allowed in. She's like the teacher, I feel.
Yeah. Yeah. Which I'm glad she's defending Jerry, and Jerry will never know. Like, and but she's standing up for him, and it makes me happy.
Me too, because it is a lovely party by a lovely man, and if they came in and ruined it, it would be awful.
Yeah, agreed.
I also love Donna's Merry Christmas, bitches. That's really funny.
It is. Oh, Retta. And Andy gets so upset when they close the door, and he's like, Santa!
I know! Because they're trying to say, like, no, it's not even that good. I'm sure it's bad. And then he sees Santa. Oh, my God. Amazing.
Oh, so good.
All right. Well, now we are back at the woodworking. Did you have anything else before that, though?
No, I have Tammy.
Oh, my God.
Ruining all the things. Well, trying to ruin the things.
Yes. Well, before her, kind of, sort of, is Martin Housley, the presenter of the Woodworking Awards, which we actually interviewed Jim Meskimen ages ago. So Jim Meskimen is the actor who plays this, and I'll post that interview in the show notes if you're interested. He was so great answering all these questions. And it was so great that they brought him back because it's been a minute since we've seen him.
Yeah, but he does do a great job in that role. Because he was the announcer at the beauty pageant, right? And so
and telethon, he was
right
there
in
for
telethon
too.
Yeah, so it's like, hey, we have somebody who's already played a role like this. Why would we not bring them back?
Yeah,
it's a small town. It
so
makes
funny.
sense, and he's so funny. Yeah. The Wood Eye is one of my favorites of all time.
I know. I think we mentioned that in the interview. I just always refer to him as the Wood Eye guy. That's like that's like the most memorable line that he has for me.
Yeah, I agree. That one lives rent free in my brain.
Totally. It's so good. All the dad jokes of like knock on wood. Oh my God, it's so stupid. I love it.
And he has wood ready.
Yes. And there are a couple of deleted scenes in the DVDs that they have him go on for a little bit longer. I don't know if I'm sure he's improvising it because I know he's good at that. But they might have been pitching him jokes as well, like on the day of. But they showed the best ones, I think, in the aired version. So lovely.
Yay.
Oh my gosh. We are finally meeting someone here that all caps OMG Gayle is here. Okay.
Yay.
Christie freaking Brinkley, supermodel, is here, and she is Jerry's wife. And Ben is shocked.
Yeah. Which
to his core.
All of us should be.
We all are.
Yeah. Like, I love it. I love his face. I love his like, wait, what? Like, this is no way. I also like the way she plays this character is just so wonderful. Like, she's perfect. She's got this perfect life. Everybody loves her. You know, I think it's the perfect juxtaposition to who they see Jerry being at work.
100%. I think that's so true. I looked up like an interview from Jerry on, I think he was on Stern or something, and yeah, it was Stern, I think. And because I was curious, how did they get her?
Yeah, seriously.
Like what? And basically, I mean, long story short, the casting was basically, they said they were looking for a Christie Brinkley type because they wanted Jerry's wife to be completely opposite. Well, that's mean. I don't mean opposite. You know what I'm saying? Like
appear to be out of his league.
Yeah, appear to be out of his league. That's a much nicer way to say it. That's what I meant. But they wanted a supermodel for him because they wanted his life to be just so amazing and wonderful and perfect. And then they actually ended up, I think they just called her like out of nowhere and was like, hey, can you do it? And then, so it says, I'm just going to read this really fast. So it's, Jerry is saying this, or Jim O'Hare who plays this. It says, Jerry was so shit on by his coworkers and things just weren't good. So producers wanted to make sure Jerry's home life didn't match his work life and dreamt up a gorgeous family for him to have, as well as an above average penis. And when it came time to pick the actress to portray Jerry's wife, casting directors wanted to look for a Christie Brinkley type. And Jim still remembers receiving the phone call that they'd instead gotten the real deal. A producer says, we think Christie Brinkley's going to do this. And he said, are you fucking kidding me? And so it turns out that Christie Brinkley's daughter, Sailor, was a huge Parks and Rec fan and urged her mom to take the part.
Go Sailor.
Yes, go Sailor. And it was like, well, Jim O'Hare actually says this, that it was kind of like a selfish thing on Sailor's part, which I would have done the same thing too, because Jim says, every time she shot, Sailor came out with her, like on set.
Oh, that's cool.
I was like, I would have done that too if I could have had the chance to be on set of like one of my fave shows, because my mom's like acting. Hello.
Yeah.
Because I think Christie Brinkley was like, what even is this show? At least that's the way they presented it in this article. And like, not in a bad way, but just like, I'm not aware of what this is, but her daughter was. And so I think that is just like so wild. And I'm so happy that they did that. And it's just great.
Sailor's also gorgeous. Sorry.
Oh, is she? I didn't even look up that. Aw. Oh, she is. She's so beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sailor.
Yeah. Thank you for your
mom to
thank you for your true. Yeah.
For your service.
Your hard work. Yeah. Your service. Thank you. I couldn't find my word. Yeah. No, that's so awesome.
Yes. But anyway, back to Gayle though. She, the character, she gets a silver hair from Chris's shoulder and says, "Oh my God, look who's a silver fox!" And she says it so sweetly. She's not saying it in a mean way, I don't think.
No, I agree.
And then Ben is a gloomy goose and like, "Oh my God, you're not thinking about how your life is in decay. Maybe therapy is working." Yeah. And it's lovely, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, I love it because he's been on guard.
That was his greatest fear.
Yeah. It was.
You
that
know?
was he
At
dressed
Halloween.
up as an old. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and Ben has just been on high alert all night for him, and it's really cool to see that he's good. Like, you know, he's making it through, and he doesn't need Ben there to watch his every move. Mm-hmm. It's really cool.
But it is, you know, I love this, and I didn't think about it until just now, but it's really cute because Ben's being the emotional guardian for Chris, and Leslie's being the emotional guardian for Ron. So they're both like doing their parts as friendships, which I think is really lovely to see.
That's so funny. That's one of my notes.
Oh, is it? Oh my God. I didn't even think about it until just now. So
yeah,
you
same realization.
Yeah.
But it's really beautiful that they're taking this break. It's not even like a break from each other, but they're, you know, we're not seeing a scene with them, but they're being this person for their friends, and it's really cool.
Yeah, it is. Well, now the family is together with their matching Christmas sweaters and beautiful names, or beautiful faces and names too.
And names too.
To sing the Christmas carol. It's Miriam and Gladys. Those are the other daughters besides Millie, because Millie couldn't be there. Well, they said she couldn't be there. Which I think is also funny that the names are like 80-year-old lady names.
Yeah, agreed.
Miriam, Gladys, Millicent.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Love it.
We did get a little peek into meeting Millie ahead of the rest of the family, because she's gorgeous as well. All the daughters are, but it's like that should have also been a clue of like he probably has a really pretty wife. Yeah.
Yes.
So
yeah. Just like a little bit of a breakdown on these gals. Gladys is played by Katie Gill, and she is also a stunt actress, which is really cool. She's been in The Middle, Sweet Life on Deck, Baby Daddy, a ton of other things that I wasn't as familiar with, but she did a great job. And I love that we're going to see both of these girls later on when Leslie goes to Jerry's house in another episode. So I love that they come back. And then Miriam is played by, I want to say, Malia Beth. I'm going to say Malia Beth. Malia Beth Johnson.
Yeah.
And she was in Mad Men, and I totally remember looking at when I saw the picture, I remembered it, but I wouldn't have known because Mad Men, I watched it a million years ago. But the pictures look like she was one of the gals that John Hamm's character was with, one of the girls that he dates or whatever. And it's really cool. She's wearing this like super cool fluffy like shawl mink coat thing, and she just looks really cool. But she was also in How I Met Your Mother, SEAL Team. Also, side note, it says she was raised in Hawaii after being born in Arizona. I would love to hear that life story.
Yeah, seriously.
That's fun.
Very
But
cool.
great work, ladies. And I did reach out to both of them, but I don't know if I'll hear back. But if I do, if they're listening, great work. And we would love to hear from you. But glad that they get to come back too.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And also Ben's face when Jerry and Gail snuggle. I forgot about that. The like look to camera of like, the fuck is happening?
Yeah.
And it's so cute. They have all the harmonies and the choreo, like all the things.
Yeah, they're on it.
Mm-hmm.
They spent time practicing this, or they've been musical together for a long time and just were able to hop into it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think a lot of people notice this, but Jim O'Hare is clearly not playing that piano.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's fine.
We'll forgive it.
Yeah, that's all right. Okay, well, now I'm on to kind of the next scene where we're still at the party, but we're outside with everybody else. Tom, Donna, April, and Andy were in fact invited, but Tom put a filter on their emails to block everything from Jerry. Jerry Filter.
Which sucks. Who's
That's
Jerry
awful.
Filter?
Another great Andy line.
Is that
Who's
improv?
Jerry
I really
Filter?
feel like it was improv.
I think they wrote it and everybody
Okay.
laughed. They talked about it, I think, on their podcast, and I think they wrote it and everybody was like cracking up at the table read when he said that. Who's Jerry Filter? Although that could have, I mean, he could have improv that too.
Yeah.
Great writing, great acting all around.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I agree. This is so mean. I mean, yeah, of course you're going to miss good things coming through. Like, and April realizes there's like 3 years of really nice messages in here. Like, congrats, you guys. I'm rooting for you. Like, he's, you're filtering out. I know. Yeah, he probably emails more than he should, but like, what a sweet guy.
I know. It's very sad. And then, another Andy line of like, I just tied my score on Snake, which again might be proving your point of like, I don't know if he really cares about.
Yeah, I don't think he's in it. I don't think he's in it. I don't think he has email on his phone, if I'm being real with you, which is why he's not checking.
Fair.
Who knows if he even checks his email at work.
Yeah.
He's just like off to the side doing his own thing,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So.
All right. Well, it's nice that they're learning the error of their ways, which we'll see a little bit later. But before that, we're back at the woodworking event, and we're getting to Ron's category, and Leslie again is being the emotional support guardian and saying like, tune Tammy out. She's not even here. Just focus. And you do see a look of like kind of confusion and weariness on Diane's face, which is kind of setting up the later story, which I really appreciated seeing.
Yeah. Good back acting. Side acting.
Yeah. Back acting. But yeah, then we see that Ron wins, which is so exciting.
For Chair. Everyone's chair's name is Chair.
Yes, for
Great.
Chair. Oh my God. Okay, so this is getting to the second person that is a real person. That guy that gets up and leaves because he's mad that he didn't win. I totally thought that was just an extra. He did a great funny job, and I was like, that's an extra. His name is Asa Christiana, and he worked 15 years for the actual publication of Fine Woodworking, 8 of them as an editor. And so he is like a legitimate fine
That's
woodworking
amazing.
fella.
Good job, Parks and
I
Rec.
never guessed that. Never.
Yeah. Wow.
I love that. Authenticity. It's amazing.
So great.
I love learning about this stuff. This is why we do this podcast. I would never have looked that up.
Yeah, I know.
I mean,
and no
maybe,
one else.
but
Yeah. Who else
Not
probably
really.
just knows that from watching the show? That's great.
Yeah. Amazing. So anyways, good for him. And then this is where the Tammy obscenity gets even insaner. I just love how, open and out there she is, literally snapping her fingers,
Yeah.
pointing to her.
Other people could look over. My
She wants
gosh.
to.
I
traded a guy for my seat. What did she say? For a poke and
peek and a
squeeze.
squeeze. Peek and a squeeze. My boob and my butt, respectively.
Subtle. Oh my God. And that had to have been like, I would just love to know what the writing looked like for that. But like, I mean, Megan Mullally like absolutely just brought everything to that.
Nails
You know
it.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh my God. It's so good.
It's so good. Love
This
her.
Good. Award good.
Yeah.
Night good.
Good.
Ron is just losing it. I'm really proud of him for getting out of there as
getting
soon
off
as
the
possible,
stage.
Though.
Yep.
Yes.
Take your award and get out.
Right. Before I go back to Chris though really fast, they do have an actual in the deleted scenes they had a memoriam, like an actual memoriam, like a full version, which was so lovely. And I love that writing of like the woodworkers who died and designed their own coffins. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Hilarious and morbid and great.
Yeah. But I mean, you got to think somebody probably does that. They're like, I'm going to create my own coffin. Why not?
Definitely.
They're so expensive, Holly.
Oh my God, they're insane.
So why not create your own?
Good for them.
Yeah. Save that money.
Mm-hmm. Well, Chris is now looking at a picture of Millie, and Ben is like thinking that he's going to freak out. But Chris is like, you know what? I wish her the best.
Yeah.
And it's really
good for you, Chris.
Amazing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, because I don't think it ended on any like negative tone, right? Like they didn't get in a fight. It wasn't anything like that. It's just she ended
sad.
It. Yeah. I think for him, it was. I don't know if it was the first time he was ever broken up with, or if it was the first person he for sure, like, you know, he moved a lot, right? So when he was dating someone, I think he saw an end date, and this might be a person he didn't see an end date with, and that's why it's thrown him for such a loop.
Yeah, he had no idea.
Yeah, but I don't think they would have been a good fit long term anyway, and maybe that's what he's kind of coming to the realization of.
Maybe, yeah. Well, and it's sad, or like nerve-wracking because he's like, it's just a picture, it's fine. And then she shows up.
Yeah,
that's such a good.
And he's holding her picture, which is so awkward.
So awkward. And the way he flips it over. Hi.
Yeah. Oh, hey,
and she's
Chris.
there with a boyfriend.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he's technically the fiance, but we don't know that at first.
Yeah.
And oh my God, big night for Chris. Big night. That's a lot of stuff going on that he had to deal with in the span of like probably 3-4 hours, something like that.
Yeah.
When they were at the party.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's weird too, because you're, as Millie, like if I'm putting myself in Millie's shoes, this is my house.
Mm-hmm.
I'm bringing my boyfriend into my house, and my ex-boyfriend's there.
Yeah.
You know, like it's kind of weird.
Right.
But I think they both end up holding themselves pretty well.
Yeah, definitely. For sure. I think it's enough time has passed. But it's always awkward at the very beginning of, that interaction.
Yeah.
Anyhow, well, next we have this moment back at the woodworking moment. If you are good to go.
Yep.
Okay. We have Leslie and Diane, and this is like a really interesting little plot thickener moment where Diane's saying Tammy doesn't bother her because she deals with hormonal psychopaths all the time at school.
She's a middle school vice
crazy.
Principal. Yeah.
But like Leslie and Ron have this intimacy that she doesn't really understand and doesn't feel like she can compete with. And I really love that they show this here because I don't even know if Diane thinks it's romantic. Like Diane, I think just sees this friendship, like this intimacy and closeness that like maybe it would be obviously a little bit different if Leslie was a male, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
But it's still this intimacy that Diane doesn't have with Ron yet. And so there is a little bit of like, can I even get to that point, Yeah.
And it's interesting that both Ron and Leslie bring that up in their defense. Like we have nothing romantic going on. When you know, you can be best friends with a guy and that can make your boyfriend uncomfortable, and that's just kind of normal, right? Like, because there's got to be a different level of intimacy for a romantic relationship than there is like a friendship. The thing, I completely get where Diane's coming from. I 100% do, and I'm really proud of her for speaking up. That's an uncomfortable thing to bring up, you know. But I also am coming from the stance of the audience who has seen Ron get back together with Tammy too, and Leslie stand by his side and not let him like fall into that. And I think she probably, her intentions are pure, right? She's looking at this like, Tammy too is here. She's pulling out all the stops. She's, you know, going commando. She's doing all this stuff. Like, I got to be here to make sure he doesn't fall into this Tammy trap again and lose Diane. Right. So like, I think the intentions are pure, and I think there's a level of the Tammy-Ron relationship that Diane doesn't understand yet. And so she can't understand why Leslie's so attached to this situation. I think Leslie probably would have stepped back a little bit more if Tammy wasn't there.
Yeah, probably so. Yeah, I mean, it definitely exacerbated it, if you will. I'm sure that Diane may have felt a little bit threatened anyway, like regardless. But yeah, Tammy definitely made things worse, as she always does.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's valid that she doesn't truly understand, because she doesn't see yet that what Leslie is doing is for the benefit of Diane.
Right.
But at the same time, yeah, there is, like, if I had just met Leslie and was like, you are so close to him in a way that I'm not sure I can be because you're doing it for me, kind of almost. It's like, yeah, it is. That's a tough relationship moment.
Yeah. I just don't feel like anyone's necessarily in the wrong. I think everybody's feelings and actions are valid. Like, I think what Ron does to make Diane feel better is beautiful and very vulnerable. Like, it's probably, you know, he hasn't willingly shown anyone that part of him. Everybody's found out of their own accord if they do know. And so I think that's really nice. And I think there's a way for Leslie to pass this off to Diane. It's just there was no way to do it organically in this situation.
Yeah, and honestly, I wonder though, like, if Leslie probably wouldn't have passed it off if Diane didn't say anything and made her think about it.
Absolutely.
Maybe later on, but I doubt it. You know, with the way that Leslie's personality is, right?
So true, but which is good. Why Diane brought it up, that she's uncomfortable with it. So maybe Leslie can see, I can step back. Somebody else is ready to, which she does say, right? Like, Diane's ready to be like his person now.
Yeah.
So,
and it is kind of sad. I will say, I mean, I can also like understand, well, but they don't really show this. So maybe this isn't completely related, but I do feel like when you have when you start to see a significant other, you've in a way like, don't get to hang out with your friend as much. So you don't get to, and that's really sad and something that like you want to hold on to. So you don't think about it as much because you're like, well, they're still my friend, so why would anything change? But it does have to, because that, you know, that love does take over a little, and not in a bad way. There's always a balance, but it's gonna change. It has to,
right?
I think, you know.
Yeah. No, I agree. Yeah.
But it is sad. So I'm glad that Leslie handles herself though, and like says, you know, well, we'll get there, but yeah. When she's like, you know, I think it's time to
more self-aware.
Have Diane do that job. Yeah. Self-awareness. Great job. I mean, after Diane points it out too.
Right.
But okay, I think that this is Leslie's telling Ron that Diane is threatened by their relationship, and Leslie says, you know, she does see where Diane is coming from as far as their closeness and their friendship, and they're close as far as Ron Swanson standards, you know. Right. But I love this line so much when Ron's pointing out the like, you're my worst nightmare. One man's worst nightmare is every other man's total package. I love that. I think that's my favorite line.
It's so good.
It's so good.
I love that confidence.
Yes. And like you said, this is a huge deal that Leslie is taking care of Tammy / handling Tammy.
Yeah.
The level of sacrificing yourself for your friend, Leslie is unmatched at that. It's so good.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And this is no easy feat. This is probably the biggest
big deal.
Yeah. Sacrifice.
Yes. Oh my God.
She ends up in a trunk, Holly. Like,
Hello?
holy crap.
For most of the night, probably. Sounds like. Oh my God. Well, I guess we don't really know what happened throughout that night, but it was, Okay, so now I'm back at Jerry's party, if you are.
Yes.
Okay. We are meeting Millie's fiance, Carl. We learn that it's not just a boyfriend. They're going to get married. And he's just almost too perfect looking. It's scary. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's wild. And it's such a bummer for Chris to have to stand there, I feel, and be like, oh, great. I love that for you.
But very big of him.
Mm-hmm.
Because he also doesn't backslide after that.
And he does a great job. Yeah. He's holding a conversation. He's really being mature about this, which is really good to see.
Agreed.
Side note, this fiance Carl is played by the actor Peter Port, and or maybe it's Porte, Porte, Port, I would say. I don't know. Sorry, Peter. He has been in The Young and the Restless for 51 episodes from 2011 to 2012, and then Days of Our Lives last year for 43 episodes.
50 episodes in a year?
Oh my God. Soap operas are every day. Did you know that?
Yes, I did.
They have a new
because
episode
remember,
every day.
we've talked about how many episodes of Days of Our Lives there have been and stuff.
Yes.
Yeah, but I totally forgot it was daily. I was like, 50 episodes.
No, seriously, that's why like people give soap opera people like such a bad rap for like their quote unquote like bad acting. But I'm like, they have to learn those lines in like 2 minutes.
Right.
Because there's a new script every fucking day.
Yeah.
It's insane.
It's insane.
But I was like, oh my God, he's so beautiful. Of course he would be on a soap opera. He is like gorgeous. They're all beautiful people.
Yeah.
Anyway, it looks like he's done a ton of other stuff too. That was just like the biggest thing that I saw. He was also in some Hallmark movies, of course. Well, not of course, but he just fits in that, I feel.
Yeah.
But I also love that they met whitewater rafting, very like athletic kind of outdoorsy vibes.
Outdoorsy. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I was going to say they either met there or like fucking like Burberry, I don't know, somewhere that the beautiful people would be.
Yes, absolutely.
But anyhow, I do love that Chris thanks Ben for looking out for him. Like he knows what Ben's been doing this whole night, and it was very nice.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Agreed.
And then I love Ben's moment of like, so Gail and Jerry. I
like,
thought about it a lot. There's no logical explanation.
I'm glad that we had it's addressed out loud and not just in like looks to the camera.
I agree. Yes. Okay. Do you have anything before the next moment?
No.
Okay. Well, Leslie's dealing with Tammy now, and the outside Jerry crew is having a come to Jesus moment, and Jerry comes out to get the money, which is lovely. They say that they, saved up money for the hospital bills, and then he gets locked out.
I know, Jerry.
Oh, Jerry, come on, man.
But also, okay, I love that they do end up giving him the money, but he had his fart attack like 2 months ago. He's been struggling with the bills. Why did it not come to any of their brain at any point in the last 2 months that, hey, we should give him this money?
They just didn't think about it. All they're thinking about is the fart attack, not how to help.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, now Leslie and Tammy are rolling around in the dumpster because Leslie threw the keys in the dumpster and Tammy's turned on.
Yeah. This must have been so fun.
Oh my God. Yes. I love that so much. I think the dumpster was both them, I want to say, but there was definitely a stunt actress for when Leslie is hanging out the side of the window in the car.
Yeah.
Because I looked it up, and her name, the stunt actress for Leslie, is named Lisa Hoyle, and she is actually the stunt double for Keira Knightley in Pirates of the Caribbean.
No way.
Yes.
Very cool.
Amazing. She was so good. She's also been in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, National Treasure, like a lot of stuff. And Lisa Hoyle, I'm very proud of you. And
yeah, wow.
I need to reach out to you one of these days. I just feel like it's so funny because they're doing so much more intense stuff like in Pirates and all these other films.
Can
and
you just hang out of a car for like 2 minutes?
Yes, exactly. It's so funny. I love it.
So good. She has an axe.
Yeah,
like she just gets an axe. Like, oh my gosh.
Yeah,
why'd you guys go back
at some point? Yeah, I guess she got the keys and she drove back to the woodworking place to see if Ron was there.
Yeah.
My God, crazy.
Yeah.
Well, everyone's gone, and now Diane and Ron are at the bar called Cozy's, and Ron does show her a part of himself that no one even knows, except, well, who knows? It's just April, right?
Just April. Andy finds out later.
And then Mark knows, but Mark is no longer here, so.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's only April right now.
I think so, too.
So, yeah.
Tom finds out when he's, like, scouting, I think. Or no, Andy finds out when he's scouting. Yeah, for the Unity concert. That's right.
Yeah.
But, and right now I think it's just April.
Yeah. And he does this beautiful thing, too, where he's, like, he's standing up for Leslie in a way. It's like, you know, hey, she's out there fighting the beast for us right now. And she's a really good friend. Like, she's not going to be out of my life necessarily, right? But here's something that she doesn't even know.
Mm-hmm. That's a really good compromise. And the fact that Ron would visit Europe for Diane is a big deal.
That's huge. Huge
deal.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I also wonder that, again, I don't know if this is that important, but I wonder if he was planning on having that concert after their date, or did he just go up and
showed up?
Yeah, honestly, I could see that happening too, because that happens with stand-up, so I don't know why it couldn't happen with, like, Duke being there. Because they probably have live music every night, so if he just went up to the MC and was like, hey, I'm here, they'd be like, oh yeah, dope. They'd love it.
Of course. Duke Silver, of course.
Yeah. I did a breakdown on that MC for like a long time ago, but because we haven't seen Duke in a while, I feel like, at least at a jazz bar, and I just want to do another brief breakdown on the MC. He's played by Dwayne R. Shepard Sr., and he's been a lot of things. Scandal. There's a picture of him marrying Kerry Washington and the president, so I think he did that. Cool. He's also in Modern Family. It's on his demo reel, and I was like, wait, when? And so I don't know if you guys watch Modern Family, but or remember every scene, but basically when Cam and Mitch come back and they're on the plane with the baby, with Lily.
The very first episode.
Yes, the very, very first episode. And there's a guy to the right of them in the window seat that says, like, you and your wife must be very happy. You're very proud. That's him.
Okay, very cool.
And then that's when that is such a funny thing when, like, someone else says, like, look at that baby with those cream puffs. And she actually has cream puffs, not talking about Cam and Mitch. Oh, my God. It's so funny.
Oh, gosh. Yeah, so good.
But anyway, and then, he's been in Insecure, just a ton of things. And I just love the way he reads that. My man, Duke Silver. It's about to get all warm up in my jazz.
It's so good, but so yicky at the same time.
Oh my God. I think it's so cute that she's the Duchess.
Yeah, that's a huge statement.
Yeah.
Huge statement.
Yeah.
So sad that she gets, like, death threats.
Oh my God. I know. That is so freaking hilarious. So one lady says, you're so lucky, and one says, I'm going to kill you.
Yeah. It like puts in perspective, because that happens with celebrities. Like, when, like, a famous chick or dude, like, start dating someone, like, there can be really, like, negative backlash for the person they're dating.
Yes, 100%. And like you said, I think it is, like, I know we said it, but I just think it's worth saying again. This is a huge vulnerability step for Ron. Like, this is a big deal, and he doesn't want anyone to know. It's so secretive. And so the fact that he's letting her in this way is so intimate and tender and lovely.
Agreed.
So it's a really nice moment. I wanted to do a breakdown on these ladies who say this to her. Just very briefly. The lady who says you're so lucky is played by Carol Avery, and she's been in Fresh Off the Boat, West Wing, Jane the Virgin, a lot of stuff. Side note, her character name is Abby Fenner, Fenr. Again, we've talked about this many times, but Parks always gives the character names funny names. And then the second lady, the I'm going to kill you lady, his name, who was so funny.
Yeah.
What a line to have. Her name is Alexandra Rushfield. I think she goes by Allie, and she's primarily a writer. She wrote on, Adie Bryant from SNL.
Yeah.
She has a show on Hulu, I believe, called Shrill, which I don't think is, I don't know if it's still on or still going. But anyway, she has a show on there. And Alexandra Rushfield wrote on that.
Very cool.
And so that's really cool. And then she also wrote on Love, the TV show, which we talked about a couple episodes ago, which is kind of a nice crossover. And then she's also a producer on Unstable, which is the show, the Rob Lowe show on Netflix that neither of us had heard of.
Yeah.
And we talked about that last time. So I'll have to watch that. And then Friends from College, which she was also a part of. But yeah, so I think that was really great that they got, I don't know if she auditioned or what the story behind that was, if she like knew people from being a writer or whatever. But I think both of those ladies were really fun.
Yeah. Very, very good. Fun lines.
Yes. And then, yes, this is where Leslie has that moment where she is having a talking head and she's like, okay, this, what we talked about earlier, like Diane is now Ron's emotional guardian. Like I'm going to retire from my post essentially, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that's a really mature thing to do because I don't know if season 1 Leslie would have done that.
Agreed.
She might have, but she might have had to like be pushed a little bit more.
Yeah. And I think she's realizing too, right? Like Ben is that's her job now. Like he's the person she needs to be emotionally protecting.
Yeah, that's true.
So
too.
it's kind of like they're both, before they actually get married, they're both kind of getting the release of being the guardian of these two people. Because, you know, Chris is doing okay too.
Yeah, that's fair. Great point. Well, now we're at the tag, and the tag is Officer Scorgle pulling over Tammy, and Leslie is in the trunk. I love that reveal too. Like, did you find anyone or any sign of a struggle?
Passenger?
Help. Oh
Poor
my
Leslie.
God. I also love that they wrote this in where Tammy looks scared when Diane says, yeah, take her out of those cuffs. I want this to be a fair fight.
Yeah.
I could see that fight happening for sure.
Me too. And
Diane,
good,
I think
good
Ron
sense
loves
on
it.
Tammy to be afraid.
Yes, 100%. That's the funny thing about bullies, like Tammy being a bully, is like, you know, once you stand up to them, they're like, ooh, ooh, oops.
They lose the power.
Yes. Especially like, coward kind of bullies, but Tammy's just a funny one.
Yeah, true.
But I do love that though, that detail, I forgot to mention that detail of like, we just need to keep her away, or what did she say? Tammy said we need to keep, give me like so many hours and he'll be mine. So it's like he has that brief moment when he's going to fall into the trap and Leslie is like, okay, I'll take that bet, basically.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that was Ron and Diane, season 5, episode 9. Great episode. Hopefully I hear back from some of the guest stars because I would just love to hear how this filming was. But maybe I'll hear from Jerry's daughters as it gets closer to the next episode. So hopefully we'll get something from there. If you haven't rated or reviewed the show, please do that. Follow us on Instagram, do all of the things, ask us any questions that we can research for you. We'd be happy to see what we can find. And thanks for listening.
Yeah, so exciting for our next episode. Was one of my favorites, 2 parties.
Wait, which one is it? Oh, 2 parties. Yes. Oh my gosh, this season is just chock full of stuff.
Stacked. Yeah.
Stacked. Oh my God. Well, thanks everyone for listening, and we'll talk to you next time. Bye, guys.
Bye.
There's a park and some pals, and there's also therapy too.